I'm Monte Montana, and I have the pleasure of having someone in the studio with me right now. Recently featured on Chris Six News segment and article. And you may have seen it. It's a young man who scored a sweet gig voicing a video game that's going to be coming out, Mass Effect 4. And I saw the story, and I was just like, man... When I first met you, Kyle, I'm speaking with Kyle Land. Hi, how are you?
Hi, hello.
Let's start with an introduction. How about that?
Hi, I'm Kyle Land. You said it yourself.
Yeah. You may know him as PhantomSavage on YouTube or Twitter.
Yeah, YouTube. I do a lot of YouTube videos. Got like about 60,000 subscribers now, I think.
I met you, was it Spotlight Talent Studios?
Spotlight Talent Studios. I met you like, I don't know,
year and a half,
2 years ago?
Something like that.
It was some time ago, yeah.
It's been a little while. And when so they had like a voice acting class kind of a thing, and you were definitely a standout to me in that class. I thought, man, this guy...
You're too nice.
You're definitely enthusiastic, and you're not measured. You know, you go for it. It's like you put everything into it, and I could tell right there that you had a sincere, legitimate passion for
That's a
acting.
nice way of saying you don't know when to shut up. That's
So I guess we'll start from now and then backtrack, because the thing that caught people in Corpus Christi's attention was that you were going to be on Mass Effect 4.
Yeah.
And I know you've said a couple times how that went down, but if you would, again, please indulge us with how you ended up on enormous scale video game, and you're going to be a character.
It's funny how I got it. It's funny. It's just one word, technically 2 words, but it's one word. Facebook. That's it. Facebook. Because I found it because I got a lot of friends that are also into voice acting stuff on the internet. Which, I mean, you know, I've got some friends too there and some professional stuff too, but it's mostly like YouTube, internet voice actors and stuff. So they post things on Facebook, and they'll repost things from certain things. And BioWare, like I don't know, last November, I think it was, had like that Explorers Wanted contest up there. And I just auditioned for it because they provide audition materials. And it was like 1 of 2 scripts or whatever. And I just did it. And like once you're trying to voice act from home, you kind of do like 10 auditions a day and then forget about it.
Yeah.
So I did it and like forgot about it for 3 weeks, and then I got an email from someone at BioWare. It's like, hey, you're one of the potential winners. Like, oh, okay.
That's exciting enough in itself.
Yeah, that was kind of a shock, to say the least. Yeah. So that was pretty fun. And of course I talked myself down from it too, because it said potential winners instead of winners.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, so that means I'm like one of 200 people, right? That's what that means. But no, it turns out me and one other person from Michigan, Carrie Schultens, were the 2 winners of the contest. And we got flown out to L.A.
Man.
Things.
How many people were in the contest again? It was like 16?
16,000 people from Canada, New Zealand, Australia, and the United States. It was international.
That is pretty amazing, man, when you think about the numbers.
Yeah, it's dreams come true. I mean, like you want to do voice acting, or you've been in radio for a fair bit of your life, but I've been wanting to do voice acting for years, and this finally came along.
So the audition, how much material did they give you? Like, did they give you multiple parts to voice, or did you just take one part and do 3 different voices or takes? Or?
See, there was the wording on the audition was kind of confusing, because I knew like a lot of people did. They offered 2 characters, which, by the way, weren't actually in the game. They were just kind of like testing to say your voice were and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And there were like 2 characters, and one of them was like a news vlogger type sounding character, and another was a mercenary type sounding guy, and that's the one I went for. And a lot of people like did both auditions, but like the wording was a little confusing. Like some people did like only one. I only did one. And there was a fair amount of lines. I don't know, it was like 5 or 6 different lines for the character, and then you submit them and you sent them to BioWare. Mm-hmm. I think that's about it.
Did you slate it? Did you say, "Hi, I'm Kyle Land, and here's," or anything like that?
You know, I don't I don't remember if I actually slated the name or not, but you're sending them an email from your email, and I have a business email, and you have the contact information, because it was also a form too. That was unusual actually for a lot of auditions. You actually signed a form out like digitally too that had the information. And you sent it to them. So, like, once you sent the audition, they kind of knew everything about you. Yeah. They knew your name. They knew all that. So
it's trippy, man, because there's probably somebody in the world that sounds exactly like you.
Yeah.
And they could say the same line that you said, and there's just a nuance on one syllable that you said in a different way, and that is what put you above 16,000 other people.
Yeah, it was funny. Our director, Caroline Livingstone, she was talking about Carrie, who at the time was recording in the studio her lines, because both of me and the other winner, Carrie, we went to L.A. and we did our different recording sessions. And I was, Caroline was talking, who's the director, that the reason why Carrie was picked, I wasn't in the room when they might have been talking about me. Maybe I'm not important enough. I don't know. But she was saying that they picked Carrie because they could hear the smile in her voice. And they were saying, like, very few people can do that. So it's just very specific, like you said, just nuanced things that you can hear a smile when somebody's talking, you know? That's why they picked Carrie. I don't know.
No kidding. It'd be interesting to hear what they said about why they picked you. I mean, aside, obvious, there's definitely some talent there. There's some talent's involved. Yeah.
I think I'm just they picked out of a hat. It was a giant hat with 16,000 other pieces of paper.
Man, so you get the email. Congratulations, you won. Did you get a call, or how were you notified that you got this gig?
All my notifications came through email. It was all email, no calls. It was Sean Trainer is the guy that actually at BioWare that put this whole thing together, and it was all him, because apparently BioWare had done something like this a few years ago for like Dragon Age Inquisition. They had some kind of project where they had like amateur VAs do something or whatever, and Sean took that template that they used for that previous contest, which I don't think was as big as this one. It was just kind of like a small, almost localized thing. I might be wrong about that. But, he kind of took the template for that and applied it to Mass Effect, which out of BioWare's games, which they're a big game studio, Mass Effect is probably their biggest IP, their biggest name. So he applied that to this. And I just kind of got emails back and forth, like asking specifics. It's like, when is your availability dates? Like, we'll be sending you a card for money for taking care of food on the trip and whatnot. That was nice. And there was some left over on the card, so I got myself a steak at Nico's when I got back.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, so it was a good time. Yeah.
Still able to support local. That's cool.
Yeah. That's the best steak place in town. This is sponsored by Nico.
It should be, right? Well, I'll get on the sales department. So you fly out to L.A. and I'm sure they have a limo driver there waiting for you with your name on a limo sign.
Well, it was a black car, but it was a limo driver. Yeah, he was cool. Yeah, we got there I got there in the airport, and there was a guy with my name waiting there, and he took me straight to the hotel, which was the Kempton, which is like near Beverly Hills. So they didn't spare any expense. They didn't lodge me in Motel 6.
Nice.
So it was it was a nice hotel, which was actually under construction when I got there. They were actually kind of upset that they didn't tell BioWare that it was under construction, because when we got there, like the lobby was underdone. We had to like check into the rooms on the second floor, but it was still a nice hotel.
And you're like, I'm from Corpus Christi, y'all, so no, this is good. This is fine.
This is fine. I was expecting Motel 6. Yeah.
So you get to the hotel. Probably did you get to chill that evening, and then they saw you in the morning?
Yeah. Because I got there. I wasn't there for very long, because I got there in the night of. I didn't have anything, and the whole next day was recording, because I was expecting, because when you do like a video game of this nature, and knowing that I'm probably this late in the project not going to be the main character or supporting character or anything like that, you kind of expect, it's like, oh, well, I'm going to be like one of the 2 million NPCs you talk to in the game that like has 5 lines or whatever. So I'm probably going to be there like an hour or 2 hours and then go. But no, they had me there like from 10 a.m. till 6. I was there the entire day, so I didn't really have much time to do anything. But the first night I got there, I went out to the Chinese theater on Hollywood Boulevard because I wanted to see something in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That was, historical. And I picked the wrong time to go, I might add, which, not to get political, but I got there with an Uber driver, and we saw a big crowd of people. And it's like, oh, it's just Hollywood Boulevard, right? It's busy. That's how Hollywood Boulevard is. And I noticed as I got closer, that everyone was holding a sign. And it wasn't until I got there that I realized I found myself shoulder to shoulder in an anti-Trump rally. I couldn't move for like 5 minutes. It was so packed.
Oh, man.
But I still got to see the theater, and that was awesome.
He's like, I just want to be here for the theater, man.
I came here to watch a movie. I didn't want politics.
I'm not trying to be opinionated.
I don't have any opinions. I got paid to go out here.
Well, that's cool that you got to see that. Because I know outside the Chinese theater, I've never been there, but you hear stories of people dressing up as characters.
Oh,
and you
yeah.
go and you get your picture taken with Indiana
there were a
Jones
few.
and Spider-Man, and then they get pissed off because Spider-Man's on his turf or whatever. they get very territorial.
Yeah, there was actually, I saw something weird. There was 2 Captain Jack Sparrows next to each other. They were actually working together instead of against each other, which is against character. How dare they?
Yeah, you think he would?
There's only one Captain Jack Sparrow.
Exactly, man. So good evening there, and then the next day they had you in the studio. So why did it take so long?
Because we didn't. Once we got it there, we found out that we didn't actually have to be there all day. They said we could go whenever we wanted to and come back. But the reason why I wouldn't want to, because they told us in an email beforehand that we would get to meet probably some of the cast for Mass Effect Andromeda, which is the game. And it's like, oh, that's cool. So I'm going to meet some of the probably some of the supporting characters, because like the Mass Effect games, just like a lot of like Dungeons and Dragons type games and whatnot, they have like a lot of party members and stuff that join you along the way, and they have their own side quests you can do. Some of them are romanceable, depending what the character is. So it's like, oh, okay, there's like, I don't know, there's like 10 kind of companion characters a game. That's probably grossly overestimated. But it's like, that's probably the kind of people I'll be meeting there. And it turns out that when we got there, we had our sessions, me and Carrie's sessions, were like the last 2 of the day. And the sessions that were scheduled first were for both Frida Wolf and Tom Taylorson. And they are the main characters of the game, and they were there all day long.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so it was really cool, and it was really awesome to just be there and not only like listen to the whole recording process, which was helpful for when we finally needed to record, but they recorded their sessions first, which took most of the day, so we could watch them perform, and whatever voice actor or actress wasn't in the studio or in the booth was with us, with the director and whatnot. So we're just kind of chilling the entire day, getting to talk to professionals. And, and Tom, it's great. I love Tom because this is actually his first major role in a video game, like a main character role, which is Mass Effect. Before that, he's done some like additional voices on like other big games, like Watch Dogs and a few other things like that, he told me. But the one thing he was known for before this was Octodad, which was a great, big, successful game, but it was like an independent game. So this is his first lead role in a game. So it was really cool to get to talk with him because he's only been in the big part of the industry for a very short period of time too. So it was like he was easily relatable. Yeah.
And still completely enthusiastic.
Oh,
and not like the old dog burned out on it.
I'm only here because I get paid.
Yeah, exactly. Man, that had to have been for someone who is so into voice acting to be around those kind of people in a pro studio like that all day. Dude, that's probably like
it was a dream come true, because that's what I've always wanted, specifically video game voice acting. I've wanted since I was a kid, because my dad and mom, as you know, they were radio people. They ran their radio stations and were jocks for pretty much my entire childhood.
Yeah.
So I grew up around radio like this. And then those are the only two things I knew as a kid, radio and video games. So my mind just kind of meshed them together.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, I want to do radio for video games, which has turned into voice acting. So it was really cool to be able to get their dreams come true. You know?
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
So what kind of layout or equipment did they have in the studio situation?
It was not what I expected. It was way like they don't have paper anymore. Like that's probably sounds weird. Well, maybe not. This last time I was in a radio station was like 8 years ago. But they don't have paper at all. There is no paper scripts. The only paper in the entire studio is at the director's desk where she's kind of going through like what lines need to be done next and whatever.
Okay.
What they have is they have a monitor in the recording booth that's set up that the engineer also is controlling from the other side. And they show you each line on a line-by-line basis. So, like, you know, one line could be like, get over there. You know, that's one line.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see that, it'll be up on the monitor, and you see like a little red button or a red bar up top that lets you know when it's recording. So when you see it recording, you just say, get over there. And then if it records again, you see it again, you do it again, you do it a different way. And then they'll just go to the next line, usually. Or if it's not, then you'll hear the director over the intercom. So the way they have it, it's, I don't know what the program they use is, but they just have like 10,000 different almost like sub Excel sheet documents that are like you can open up on that monitor, and they're recording on a line-by-line basis.
Okay.
So once you get on a roll, or if you're like a real, like I'm watching Tom and Frida in the booth, you know, you can knock out lines, you know, like that, just one after another, which is, you have to.
Yeah.
For something like Mass Effect, because I remember, I don't know how many years ago, whenever the first Mass Effect came out, there was a news article I read that Mass Effect's dialogue, because there's so many choices in the game and there's so many side quests. If you were to compile it all in like an actual paper script, it'd be like 2 times thicker than the encyclopedia. You can't rifle through all that paper.
Yeah.
It'd be a nightmare. So the way they do it is extremely efficient and fun, and really feels more natural to be standing in a booth looking at a straight ahead, because you're standing up in the booth and you're looking ahead, because I was expecting paper, like reading a bunch of commercial copies before, and you're always kind of got your nose buried down into the paper, and you're reading, oh, yes, 516.
Yeah.
You know, but no, you're just standing up looking at a screen, and it's really, really efficient.
No kidding. Did they do? Did they have like a Neumann or one of those Sennheiser shotgun mics?
That surprised me, because I was expecting like a Neumann mic, which a lot of people listening don't know what that is. That's a very expensive, very nice microphone.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting something like a hypocardio condenser mic or something like that, and it might have been. I didn't ask what it was, but it looked like a very basic kind of like small black stage performance, like Radio Shack mic with a sock on it. And it was probably, thinking about it, it was probably Shure, which is a brand of mics.
Okay,
it was
yeah.
probably Shure. I didn't inquire about it, but I was surprised. It was on a shotgun mount.
Okay.
Above. It probably was a Shure.
I'd love that stuff, man. I've only done a little bit of voiceover work.
You should do more. You have a good voice.
Well,
I'm not sure very many people tell you that, but you have a good voice.
I appreciate it, man. You know, using it in the right way is the challenge. Do you remember what your first paying voiceover gig was? Like
first paying one? Oh boy, there haven't been many. There's that always like, no, you're doing it for the exposure. Yeah, no.
Right.
That's hard to say. I forget what my first paying one was. Honestly, it was probably some independent game, or it was something for a YouTube video. I think so, because I used to be on a website called the Casting Call Club, which is it's for amateur voice actors internationally. Like it's just a site like YouTube or whatever. Not quite as big as YouTube, of course, but people would put up projects there. And I think Behind the Voice Actors, which is like the IMDb for voice actors, also had like a segment where people could put up projects and stuff.
Okay.
And occasionally you'll see people with paid gigs on there, but it's kind of rare.
Yeah.
It's almost like one of those things you do to familiarize yourself with the way recording works sometimes and to practice.
Yeah.
Because like 99% of everything on those sites are like free.
Right.
Like it's like, you're not doing this for a job. You're doing this as a volunteer,
Right.
It's like volunteer theater. This is a passion.
Well, that's that kind of brings me to something I've been thinking about here lately, and it's just starting. Like there's so many people that ask me, how do you get in radio? And everybody has a different path. I went to Del Mar part-time overnight on the weekends at the radio station. Then you got a guy like Rex who, you're funny, be on the morning show. So he went from he got the star spot first gig, whereas me, I got the worst spot and worked my way on up. Yeah. And I'm not jaded about it at all, man. It's cool.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine, man. But no, it's good. So, anybody listening to this might be interested in figuring out how to start getting voiceover work or what to do. And I personally wouldn't discourage anybody.
No, not at all.
Doing the things that don't pay. I mean, obviously that's not part of your business model. But if you're starting with absolutely nothing, that is a good way to get.
Well, it pays to be
with
groups like that. I mean, there's every group is different. Some people are professional, some people aren't. But it pays to be in that general kind of group of people because they will teach you like, oh no, this is the kind of equipment that you should need. You need like a Scarlett 2i2 with an XLR microphone, probably a condenser. You don't have to buy like an $800 microphone. You can if you want to, like I am because I'm a stickler about audio quality. But like you can get these different kinds of like a Blue Yeti mic. You pick up these things from that crowd of people. And the nice thing is that there are people that are just totally happy doing nothing but free stuff. And that's what I think it's beautiful because the passion's there. It's not just for them. Voice acting isn't just like, I want to be in anime. I want to be a star. I want to be in a video game. It's like, no, they just like voice acting. It's just like community theater. Not every community stage actor wants to be Brad Pitt. It's not everyone wants to go down that path. And it's good to be in that group. But you can't be Brad Pitt without being in that community theater. Yeah. You know what I mean? So to get started, definitely go to those kind of sites, Voice Acting Alliance, Casting Call Club, anytime. A lot of Newgrounds used to be popular with a lot of like Flash animation stuff.
It's funny you mentioned Brad Pitt. Yeah, there was a time when he was like the mascot for a chicken place.
Oh, yeah.
He was the dude in the chicken suit, So.
Yeah, and he escalated from that to being a driver for like an escort service. This is not a very easy way up the rung.
Yeah. So it's from meager beginnings for most of us. We're talking about starting in voiceovers and what you might do. You're going to need the basics. You're going to need some kind of recording software and a microphone and a quiet place to record and then a web community to connect with to be able to share what you record. So that'd be starting voiceovers basically at the bottom.
At the bottom,
the basics of what you would need. What about
going professional?
Anybody that wants to? Well, I'll go there in a second. But anybody that wants to start really anything, that's a thing that's always kind of fascinated me. It's like people, they have ideas, like I want to be a writer.
Oh yeah,
but they don't ever really write anything. It's like, do you really want to be a writer? So when it comes down to the basics of starting to do something. Do you have any, advice on getting moving, getting motivated, and actually putting that thought into action and making it happen?
I would say probably, of course, I have so much experience. I'm so successful. But I would say from my limited experience with this voice acting stuff now and my YouTube stuff, I would say if you can't get somebody else to do it, for whatever reason, if you don't have the money to pay them or if like they're not around or they're not reliable, do it yourself. That's like the best thing you can do. Like if I'm trying to think, like half the big popular people in Hollywood are making their own movies are only famous because it's not Sean Penn. Crap, what's his name? That created Shaun of the Dead. I forget his name. I feel bad because he's one of my favorite directors.
Not Nick Frost.
He's the
Simon
partner.
Pegg. Yeah, they're the actors.
Yeah, but he writes everything. He records everything. He films everything. He's the director, the writer, the producer, and he starts, from the bottom on that kind of thing. And then, once he had a success, all of a sudden Hollywood wants him. He didn't say, I want to be a director, and then go to a studio. And then it's like, can I be your director?
Right.
No, we have 20,000 other people that want to be a director. You're not going to be a director. Mm-hmm. And if you are, then we're going to stick you on this flick over here that's not going to do anything. We're not going to take your script. There's 3 million scripts. So, yeah, it's hard to say because it varies industry to industry. Mm-hmm. In filmmaking, you just kind of have to get a group together. You almost have to be the leader, practically. I know that was the case with a lot of my YouTube videos, which aren't exactly films, but they're comic dubs, which is where I take comics people have written online about certain fan subjects, like cartoons like Miraculous Ladybug. Mm-hmm. And I would record them. And, I have a set group of friends that I can rely on for voice acting. I have one person I rely on, Heidi Tabbing, which does all my female roles, and she's in California. But more oftentimes than not, if I have another character that's there's 3 or 4 other male characters in that, it's I don't have anyone else that I can talk to. I need to get this done in a week. So I'm just going to have to do all 4 of them and hope that I can make them different as possible, which is a good way to practice your range a lot.
Yeah.
Because you do it enough, you can sound different enough. You can sound, eventually you can do Junkrat from Overwatch, you can do that kind of voice. And you can do something a little bit deeper, It's, so it does your range. I don't know. Just trust yourself. And kind of research where you can get started on that kind of thing.
Do it yourself, that kind of thing. Yeah. You probably have a website if you didn't have.
Yeah, KyleLand.com.
If you didn't have the means or the ability to create a website through somebody else, there's always things like Wix.com or things like that.
What is it? Square? I think Square had something like that. There was where you could create your own website. Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of a thing. And it might not be your ideal website. It might not look exactly like you want, but it's...
You don't have to be a perfectionist. I'm the worst perfectionist in the world for no reason. Just start something simple, get it together, and then improve on it later.
Yeah.
I have a voice demo reel that I made a year ago, and I'm still not happy with it, but it's not just important that it'd be perfect yet. I just do it first and then improve it later.
Right.
Granted, it's a year later and I still haven't improved it, but you can be better than me. Don't be me. Get up and do things.
I did see one of the videos that you made for YouTube. It was about tacos.
Oh, yes.
That was great, man. Your VO on that was really good, dude.
Yeah, I have. If people want to know, I do a bunch of different kinds of videos on my YouTube channel. Most of them are comic dubs. 2 of them I have made, only 2 to date, are about cooking. And Monte here is talking about tacos. I made a how to taco video, which is how to make puffy tacos, which is something that my dad taught me. And I thought was these are delicious and I love cooking, so I'm just going to make this one day.
That was really good. So, since I was interested in the vocal aspect, I didn't really pay much attention to the pictures overall. But I can't remember if it was all photographs or if there was video involved as well.
It was a little bit of both. Just because it's a YouTube video, I didn't mind lifting some images from Google image search. But it was I filmed actually making tacos. Puffy tacos, specifically, not just tacos, because you can't just make tacos. You have to make puffy tacos.
Puffy tacos.
Then I would drag in some Google image search or whatever, and then I introduced the concept of tacos as if nobody knows what concept tacos are. Uh-huh. It's tacos can be anything from beef or pork or fish, And as I was naming these things, I would there's a little picture of beef, and then there's another thing of pork, and then when I say fish, I flashed up a picture of Nemo from Finding Nemo.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
So-
There was definitely some clever stuff in there. So what kind of camera? I mean, that looked like it was, from what I remember of it, it would look like it was very high quality, and whatever software you're using seems to do the job very well.
Well, the camera I was using is like an old piece of crap from, I don't know.
Of course.
As probably, we've had that for years. Probably, I'm not even lying. It's probably like a 2007 camera or whatever, but it came out okay. Now I don't have to. The latest one I did, which was for Carne Asada, was on my phone. It looked like 10 times better. But the programs I use, I have the Adobe Creative Cloud. So that allows me, and it's invaluable for me for my YouTube videos, because it allows me Adobe Audition, which is where I record all my audio stuff in. That's where I do all my voice acting from. I have Adobe Premiere Pro, which is what I edit all my videos with. Okay. I have Photoshop, which I use a bunch for video stuff, because sometimes you'll have an image and you'll want to get rid of the background, so you got to do that. Or in comics case, I want to erase the dialogue in the comic so I can bring it back in as I'm saying it in the comic dubs.
Okay.
So I use that. And also, of course, Creative Cloud also has a bunch of other things I don't use. It has After Effects, which I've used once or twice and still don't understand. It's like a rocket control panel. There's a bunch of things, but I use the Creative Cloud, and it gives me pretty much everything you could possibly imagine if you wanted to make a small YouTube video, if you wanted to be a voice actor, or if you wanted to make an actual movie. Oh. They use Adobe Premiere in film and in television, so it's a legitimate program.
No kidding. So Adobe Creative Cloud, is that is it a one-time package you buy? Is it a monthly fee?
I think it's an annual membership, actually. I don't know the actual price. It can get pretty pricey, I think.
There's probably options.
I think there's options. It's an actual professional setup program. So the nice thing about Creative Cloud is I think you can have several team members on a thing, and it has this cloud sync. I've never used it because I'm the only one making videos in the house. But if you were putting together a movie project, or you were doing dual video YouTube videos with somebody, I think you can add a member to your program, and it has a cloud sync on it. It uses a cloud, why it's called Creative Cloud.
Yeah.
So you can drag project files from one computer onto the cloud, and then somebody on another computer 3 rooms away can drag from that same folder and just grab in what the person in the other room was doing. Which is why Hollywood likes Adobe Premiere so much. And then, the After Effects guy can put that together. It's okay, here's the file. And then it's all right, I'm going to put that into Adobe Premiere in here because I'm the editor. And, so it's nice.
So being a video gamer from way back, you're putting a lot of effort, it seems like, into the videos.
Yeah.
Is the video more a vehicle for the VO, or... do you, if it worked out to where they go, you're pretty good at VO and everything, but man, your video skills are amazing. How would you like to do a little video stuff?
The thing is that they're both passions, honestly. It would be hard to choose one over the other. I don't think I could choose just one over the other, because naturally, if my voice acting career were to become a huge success overnight, somebody saw Grunt number 3, I'm not saying what actual character I am in the game. NDA says I can't do that.
Gotcha.
But for example, if I were Grunt number 3 in Mass Effect, and somebody said, "Oh, I like that voice. I'm going to cast him as the main character of this next major game," and my career launched over, I still wouldn't stop making YouTube videos, because YouTube videos, with the comic dub stuff I do, it makes enough views and stuff that it is supplemental income now, so those are business.
Nice.
So that's nice. That's kind of my primary income right now. But the other stuff I do for gaming, because a comic dub video I do can range anywhere from 20,000 views to, I have a couple that are almost 2 million views. So
dude, that's a lot of views.
Yeah. Those are my business. And then the other gaming videos I do, which are for video game stuff, get like anywhere from 1,000 to 4,000 views, but I do them anyway because it's what I want to do.
Yeah.
You know, so it's also not just me. It's not just business. It's also my passion. So if my voice acting were to suddenly take off, I'd still make YouTube videos. They might come in less, but true is vice versa. Like if I did. My videos just became a huge success and I got like 15 million subscribers overnight, then I would definitely focus on that. But I still think voice acting is more of a passion to me than just my videos.
I think that's important.
Yeah.
Definitely. You're just making it, and sometimes you never know how it's going to be received. Sometimes you'll just make something go, just something that I wanted to put together, and next thing you know, you're connecting with people, and it's that
happened to
really...
me with the comic dub thing actually, because my channel on YouTube is pretty old. Like I made it in 2007. Which is by your standards and most everyone's standards, like, oh, that's not too long ago. But by YouTube standards, it's like, oh, you predate Abraham Lincoln. You're old.
Yeah.
You know, so I used to make a bunch of video game videos on there, and I got like 17,000 subscribers, you know, and I hit a wall there. I never progressed anymore. And then one day, I think it was last year, I just did like a comic dub because a lot of my friends who were voice actors were starting to get into them. And I was like, well, this is something because it's voice acting. I don't get to do enough voice acting that I wish I did. Mm-hmm. So I'll just put this together with a friend or two and see how that takes off. And it took off. Like it got views instantly. It came at a good time too, because first thing I did was an Undertale comic dub, and then later it was Miraculous Ladybug.
Okay.
And those two IPs at the time were really popular on the internet, and comic dubs were just kind of becoming much more popular, so I kind of got in a really good time. So that was pretty good.
Timing definitely helps.
Yeah.
There are websites like Voice123, Voices.com, pay to play as they call them. You pay them a monthly fee and you have access to different kinds of auditions. Have you used any of those?
I think I, like any voice actor, have an account, but I also, like any voice actor, don't really pay attention to it. It's those are actually those are suitable. I've heard a lot of voice actors say that those aren't the best things to do starting out because like you're paying people and you're not getting that many auditions back. But I know a lot of people that make their living there too. So it really depends. Like I've been on there. I don't have a premium account, so I don't get my auditions from there. Mm-hmm. I'm fortunate enough to have friends that are in voice acting, and they kind of like tip me a message when it's like, hey, there's this audition going on over here, and that's kind of thing. Because the nice thing is, or I should say the bad thing is about a lot of those things, those pay-to-play sites, is that you're mostly only ever going to get commercials and stuff. There's not a whole lot of animation, which is what I really want to get into.
Oh, okay.
And that's fine. And it's mostly audiobooks and commercials and like industrial type stuff, which is fine because that makes a living. And trust me, I'll take that if you shove it my way too. But I also don't want to have to pay someone to get those specific opportunities and be competing with 3 million other people on that, when I think my voice is more suited to animation. You know, at least in my position, because like I said, I've got friends that will tip me to an audition going on, like the BioWare thing. Yeah. That it's like, no, this is what I want to do over here. Right. You know, I want to be over here doing that, so I don't know. So
trying to just kind of, focus your energies more, in the specific area that you want to be in, rather than just trying to do anything that requires a voice. Yeah. Yeah, well, that makes sense, man. So the YouTube channel is
PhantomSavage.
PhantomSavage.
Yeah.
And what is the goal for that? I mean, you've been making the comic dub videos and you've been enjoying those, and I mean, if it's getting 2 million views, there is going to be some supplemental income. So I'm sure the goal is to get views and make money, but. Aside from that, do you have anything like upcoming or like some great vision for what you want to do with your YouTube channel or anything?
I want to continue. You know what? I actually really want to step into original animation, because I know that there's a lot of YouTubers that do that have like their own animation. It's kind of the same thing, because one of the reasons why I like comic dubs is that they're, most of the time when I'm doing fan comics and stuff, they're usually short stories. They're almost like sketches, because when you read comics, it's almost like the internet equivalent of Sunday Funnies adapted for like major things people are into, like Miraculous Ladybug. So they're funny, or they're like, or they're sad, or they're romantic a lot of the time. So I would like to get into original animation stuff, like find an animator or something to have some original sketches for my channel. So that's something I'm really looking forward to. Other than that, I just plan on doing what I'm doing because it's just so much fun that I'm having a passion for it, and it's getting. I hope to get like 100,000 subscribers sometimes this year, hopefully.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I hope I get more. I hope BioWare calls me back.
Yeah, man, for real.
Yeah, or anyone else. Like I would like to do more video game voice acting or anime voice acting. Yeah.
I wonder if you living not in LA, them having to fly you in, or that being part of it is a big obstacle.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. That's the only thing, is that for video games, you almost have to be in LA. That's the sad part. And I'm thinking about moving there. That's a huge obstacle. But the nice thing is that's way down the line, and I already know people at BioWare now. Mm-hmm. So, I know their names. I'm kind of friends with them. I know them on Twitter and stuff. So that's nice to know. And BioWare does have a studio in Austin. And in fact, the LA studio actually wasn't their studio. They were renting out a studio that they use frequently there. So they do have a studio in Austin that I could go record at. So that's nice. But the nice thing is about Texas, I probably should have mentioned this when talking about people getting into voice acting. Nice thing about Texas, this is the anime capital of the world, anime dubbing capital of the world. You go up by Dallas, just outside of Dallas, into Flower Mound, you have Funimation, which is where like 90% of all anime dubbing comes from. And in Houston, you have Sentai Filmworks, and they have major things too. Like on Adult Swim right now, Akame ga Kill, they had the official dub for that going on. So Texas is kind of like the place you go to if you want to be an anime voice actor. You come here. If you want to be a video game voice actor or cartoon voice actor, you go to LA. If you want to do a kind of a mix of the two, you go to New York. Those are like the three places.
Yeah. No kidding, man. Yeah, I've heard about Funimation up there in Flower Mound. That's pretty cool. But in Austin, I know, there's a lot of different places you can go. And if it's, I don't know, man, if you were a more a nomadic type of a person, you could, start off in Austin and then go to Houston. And
see, that's the one thing a lot of people don't quite understand about voice acting stuff is, like, it's not all internet yet. You still have to be willing to travel. Like, if you're not willing to travel, like, even if you have the best possible setup at home, engineers are still going to want to use their own setups in their own studios. Yeah. So you've got to be able to travel. That's, like, one thing you have to do. But, yeah, fortunately, a lot of it is going to the internet. And in Texas, there's Austin. They've got a bunch of video game companies. Dallas has some studios. They've got Flower Mound, which is Funimation. You've got Sentai. And, of course, that's just animation. That's where I like to play. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk about other things like, oh my God, all the commercials and all the industry type stuff that you can voice for, audiobooks, that's all over the place, no matter where you go. So, that's something that would be good to start in too, just to get your voice going. Yeah.
There was I took a good run at it there for a little while. Then we had twin boys, and any spare time went out the window.
Yeah,
they're 6 now, so it's getting a little bit easier and getting a little bit better, and I'm starting to have a little bit more free time.
Yeah.
So I want to try and get back on the internet and try and find some work. There was one that I did. It was I played a character in an audio drama.
Ooh,
and I was a Black Ops special agent guy. in this series called the Leviathan Chronicles, and it was really, man, the sound effects that they used for this this audio drama, it was just so good, man. It was a great storyline too.
That's funny because I'm gonna have to check that out because I think my brother how long ago was this?
It was, man, 5 years ago.
5 years ago?
4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that.
Huh.
It's been a little while, man.
Did they ever continue on the story? Was it?
They had 2 seasons. They had, and the stories were about 40 minutes, I think, 40 minutes to an hour long each, depending.
I'm not sure that. See, my brother, he's not really a voice actor, but he's an actor. Or he was trying to get into it a while ago, and he sent me a thing because like he was in. It might have been the Leviathan Chronicles. It was like he was like a military guy for one role. And it was an ongoing thing, so that's gonna be funny. I'm gonna have to check that out.
That would be funny. That'd be cool.
Small world.
But it was hard though because they were on a shoestring budget.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't get paid very much at all for it.
Yeah.
Which again, back then or even now, it's I want the money, but I don't need the money. I'm not doing it for the money. I'm doing it for the experience.
Yeah.
For the passion, for the enjoyment of it, and also to have a demo. A demo clip of
anything you can do can be put in a demo. Yeah.
Yeah, that and any exposure that might come with it. So it's things that you need and you do when you're starting. And it was really hard though because they sent me the script. They sent me the whole script.
Oh God!
For the whole episode, and man, it was thick. Man, it was probably like 3 inches thick, and so I didn't hear any of the sound effects. I didn't hear the voice.
You just have to imagine it in your
head of the person that I was talking to, or anything like that. So I recorded it and I sent it to them, and they got me on the phone and said, it's not working out. It's not what we're looking for. And here's what it is. Here's what you sent us. And here it is with the sound effects and who you're talking to. And it was way off, man. It was like totally just completely wrong. I don't even know how to put my finger on it other than it didn't mix with it whatsoever. And so after they played me the clip, talking to this other person and with the sound effects in it, I kind of got it in my head. I'm like, okay, man, my approach was completely wrong to begin with there. So I went back and I recorded all my parts again, man. And it took me a long time.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Especially without any direction, instant direction. It's just like the whole time I'm reading the script and studying it and going, okay, what is what room are we in? What is it like? What's the situation? Who am I talking to? And that's self-directing like that. Is really hard. But I think the end product after I went back and did it again,
totally changed.
It totally changed, and it passed.
Yeah, that's hard. That's hard when you don't have you have to self-direct because that happens a lot. Fortunately, a lot of the YouTube projects and stuff I do, you have the actual comic, so you have visual reference as to what's going on. Mm-hmm. And in LA, at the BioWare studio, when I recorded there, they would sometimes, because occasionally they would have a placement audio that they don't need necessarily, they're not using for the game, but they recorded it with somebody else, like an intern or something, that they needed specifically for time and tone. So you have to match a certain time and you have to match a certain tone of how they said it. So they would play it to you beforehand. So if the director, of course, Caroline was extremely great director. If the director's direction isn't enough, then sometimes they would also play that for you, and that immediately is like, okay, I got it. All right, I'll do it this way. When they send you a whole script, it's like, just do this for me. It's like, okay, sure. How?
Right, exactly.
Did it have any parentheses or anything saying
Yeah, it was kind of a screenplay. It wasn't just line by line. It was she walks out, or underground cave thing going on or something, so, and they would give me an idea of kind of what the sound effects might be or things like that. So there was a little bit of no change. Well, there was.
It's different hearing it though compared to
what you imagine.
What you imagine. And so it goes completely different in your head sometimes.
Yeah, it was neat though. It was a good experience, but it was so long ago that I'm ready to get back into it, man.
You
And
need to. You got a good voice.
I appreciate it, man. And that's part of the reason, it was a little selfish having you come in here. Part of the reason I wanted to talk to you was just to kind of remotivate myself and get re-inspired.
You're not recording any of this, are you? These are all questions for you.
That's right. And but then I thought, I'm not the only person, and that's why I talked about, if you had advice for anybody who just wanted to start whatever it may be, anybody that also feels like, I just need to be re-inspired or get motivated. What's the step to that? How do I get there? And I think if anybody's listening, whether or not they're into voiceovers or video games, hopefully it was, enjoyable, at least, hearing the stories. And if they got anything from it, it's that if you're going to do something, don't be afraid to do it yourself, like you said. Yeah. And, you're going to start at the bottom. Nobody starts as the star unless you're Rex. Is the gist of that. So, so good stuff, dude. Well, man, keep going with it. I really like what you're doing. And I watched a few of the comic dubs. I'm not familiar with the stories.
They're cartoons, Saturday morning cartoons intended for younger audiences. I don't expect you to understand the lore of Miraculous Ladybug.
Yeah, but it was still neat to see how you do it, and it's definitely been inspiring. So hopefully you'll land some more video game work. And,
I hope I get to hear your voice.
I'm man. I'm 2017. I'm definitely gonna start laying groundwork for more, going back and fixing the groundwork that I had laid and add some to it. So parting, if anybody wants to check you out, and you mentioned a website earlier, you mentioned a YouTube, but go ahead and you can give us those again.
Sure. I have a website, which is kyleland.com, which is a portfolio for a lot of my professional stuff. But if you want to see my most active stuff, then you need to go to PhantomSavage at YouTube. Just type in the name PhantomSavage, all one word, and that's my YouTube channel. And I do comic dubs every Sunday, and I do like gaming videos every Monday and Friday with a friend of mine. Some of it is family friendly, not others. I would suggest watching comic dubs if you're not, for family friendly stuff. But that's where you can find me most. I'm posting videos all the time.
So the name I meant to ask earlier, PhantomSavage, where does PhantomSavage come from?
Oh, that's all right. So it has several meanings. Like one, the name PhantomSavage, one, like it came from like an old like character I created forever ago, which was like this MMO, which is a massive multiplayer online game called Pirates of the Burning Sea. And I kind of had the idea of a pirate character named PhantomSavage, and then he got hit in the head with like a cannonball and became evil, and he became PhantomSavage. But it also has a double meaning because like I love Native American type stuff because my dad is an historian for Mayan culture. When I lived in New Mexico as a kid on basically Indian burial ground, so it comes from that because I'm technically, if you would see me, you can see me, they cannot see me. I look as white as Jerry Lewis, but I have a higher degree of Native American blood in me than the average American, so therefore I am the Phantom Savage.
That's really cool. I'm glad I asked, man. Interesting story. Mass Effect
Andromeda comes out March 21st.
Okay.
And I'm several characters in that, which I think I can say.
So after the 21st, we'll be able to tell, like we can look at the video game. And
yes, after the 21st, you should be able to play the game, and you should be able to hear me in a few different parts of it.
That's really cool. So you'll pick up the video game, and you'll see Kyle Land.
Oh, yeah. I've already pre-ordered. I've already pre-ordered it.
That is really cool, man. Kyle Land, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much, Monte.